Sarah Chen sat cross-legged on the warm grass, her datapad glowing softly in her hands. She scrolled through the morning reports with one hand while the other rested on soft fur. The fur belonged to a creature that weighed 30 kilograms and possessed claws sharper than surgical steel. 3 of these creatures were currently sleeping on and around her. One draped across her lap, another leaned against her side, and the third had somehow wedged itself between her back and the tree behind her. They were Vraskar cubs, baby versions of the most dangerous predator on Kepler 442b. When fully grown, they would weigh 400 kilograms and hunt in coordinated packs. Their crystalline fangs could pierce steel plating. Their 6 legs allowed them to run at speeds that made Earth's cheetahs look slow. Every colonist on this planet had been warned to stay far away from Vraskar territory. Sarah turned a page on her datapad. The cub on her lap twitched in its sleep, making a small chirping sound. She absently scratched behind its ears without looking up from her reading. She did not notice the spacecraft landing outside the research station. She did not hear the alarmed voices of her colleagues. She only looked up when a shadow fell across her datapad. 5 aliens stood at the edge of the enclosure. Their faces showed various expressions, but all of them looked horrified. "Good morning," Sarah said pleasantly. "You must be the inspection team from the Galactic Council. We were expecting you next week." The tallest alien, a reptilian creature with dark green scales, stepped forward. His name was Threll, and he was a Saurian. His species had been part of the Galactic Council for 3,000 years. He had inspected hundreds of colony worlds. He had seen many strange things. He had never seen anything like this. "Dr. Chen," Threll said slowly, his translator converting his hissing speech into standard English. "Do you realize you are sitting with 3 Vraskar cubs?" "Of course," Sarah replied. "I raised them from 2 weeks old. Their mother was killed in a mining accident near Sector 7. "Then you know these creatures are Class 5 predators," another alien said. This one was shorter, with blue fur and 4 eyes. Her name was Kyria, and she was a Felixian. Class 5 means extremely dangerous. It means keep away at all costs. "They're only dangerous if you're prey," Sarah said. She gently moved the cub off her lap and stood up. The cub made an annoyed sound, but quickly found a sunny spot and went back to sleep. "I'm not prey. I'm their mother." The inspection team exchanged worried glances. Threll pulled out his own datapad and began typing rapidly. "We need to speak with your station commander," he said. "This situation is not acceptable. Humans cannot be allowed to interact with Class 5 predators. It violates 17 different safety protocols." "Station Commander Wei is in the main building," Sarah said. "I'll take you to him. Let me just—" She bent down and gently patted each sleeping cub. They stirred slightly but did not wake. Then she climbed over the low fence of the enclosure and dusted off her pants. "You just left them," Kyria said, her 4 eyes blinking in confusion. "They are predators. You turned your back on predators." "They're babies," Sarah said. "They're napping. Come on, the commander's expecting you." The walk to the main building took 10 minutes. The inspection team spent the entire time staring at Sarah like she was a bomb that might explode at any moment. She chatted pleasantly about the weather and the research station's latest findings. They barely responded. Commander Wei was waiting in the conference room. He was a stocky man in his 50s with gray hair and a friendly smile. He stood and bowed slightly to the inspection team. "Welcome to Research Station Kepler 442b, he said. "I apologize for the early arrival catching us off guard. Please sit down. Can I offer you refreshments?" "We do not want refreshments," Threll said sharply. "We want an explanation. We just witnessed Dr. Chen sitting in an enclosure with 3 Vraskar cubs. She was reading. She was touching them. She is still alive," Commander Wei nodded. "Yes, that sounds like Sarah's morning routine. She usually feeds them around 8, then lets them play while she does her paperwork. They nap around 9:30. "This is insane," Kyria said loudly. "Does the human government know you are running a suicide program on this colony?" "It's not a suicide program," Sarah said. She pulled out a chair and sat down. "It's animal conservation and behavioral research. The Vraskar are native to this planet. We need to understand them if we want to live here successfully." "Understanding happens from a safe distance," Threll argued, "with walls and weapons and emergency evacuation plans. Not by sitting in the grass while they sleep on you." "That wouldn't teach us anything useful," Sarah said. "You can't learn how a species thinks by watching from far away. You need to interact with them. Build relationships." "Relationships," another alien repeated. This one was tall and thin with gray skin and large eyes. His name was Ven and he was a Korthan. You cannot have relationships with predators. They kill, they eat. They do not make friends. Sarah looked at Commander Wei. He nodded. Show them, he said. Sarah pulled out her datapad and projected a holographic image into the center of the table. It showed a massive adult Vraskar, easily 350 kilograms of muscle and fangs. The creature was lying on its side while Sarah sat next to it, running her hands through its fur. This is Luna, Sarah said. She's the alpha female of the Northern Pride. She's also the aunt of the 3 cubs I'm raising. She brings me gifts sometimes. Gifts? Kyria asked. Dead animals mostly, Sarah said. It's how Vraskar show affection and trust. They share their kills with family members. The hologram changed. Now it showed Sarah inside a cave surrounded by 5 adult Vraskar. They were all resting peacefully. One of them had its massive head resting on Sarah's leg. This is their den, Sarah said. They let me visit once a week to check on the new cubs and monitor the pride's health. Threll's scales had turned a lighter shade of green, which Sarah had learned meant he was frightened. How are you alive? He asked quietly. Because I understand them, Sarah said. Because I respect them. Because I show them I'm not a threat. The Vraskar don't attack unless they feel threatened or they're hunting food. I'm neither a threat nor food. But you are small, Ven said. You are soft. You have no claws, no fangs, no armor. You are obviously prey, Sarah smiled. That's where you're wrong. Humans aren't prey. We never have been. On Earth, my homeworld, we lived alongside creatures much more dangerous than Vraskar. We survived ice ages and predators that would terrify the entire Galactic Council. Do you know how we did it? The aliens waited. We made friends, Sarah said. 40,000 years ago, we found wolves. Giant predators with fangs and pack-hunting strategies. We didn't run away. We didn't try to kill them all. We fed them. We raised their cubs. We made them part of our families. Eventually, they became dogs. Humanity's best friend. We did the same thing with cats, with horses, with dozens of species. We even kept tigers and lions and bears as companions. That's impossible, Threll said. No species does that. It's evolutionary suicide. It's why we survived, Sarah countered. It's why we're here colonizing the galaxy. We don't fear predators. We understand them. And when possible, we befriend them. Commander Wei stood up. Gentlemen, ladies, the inspection was scheduled to last 3 days. I suggest you use that time to observe our operations. Watch Dr. Chen work. Review our safety records. You'll find we've had 0 fatalities from Vraskar attacks since we started the integration program. Integration program, Kyria repeated weakly. Yes, Sarah said brightly. We're teaching the Vraskar that humans are friends, not food. It's working beautifully. In fact, we're planning to expand the program next quarter. Would you like to meet Luna? She's very gentle for an apex predator. The inspection team looked at each other with expressions of pure horror. This was going to be a very long 3 days. Threll could not sleep. He lay in his assigned quarters at the research station, staring at the ceiling, replaying everything he had witnessed. His mind would not rest. He had spent 40 years as an inspector for the Galactic Council. He had seen colonies on ice worlds and desert planets. He had watched species adapt to toxic atmospheres and crushing gravity. He had investigated mining operations, agricultural settlements, and military outposts. He had never been this confused. The humans were either the bravest species in the galaxy or the most foolish. Threll had not yet decided which, perhaps both. He rolled out of his sleeping platform and walked to the window. Outside, the moons of Kepler 442b cast silver light across the research station. In the distance, he could see the glow of the predator enclosures. Somewhere out there, Dr. Sarah Chen was probably sleeping in a pile of creatures that could kill her in seconds. Threll's translator device beeped. A message from Kyria. Cannot sleep. Come to observation room. Reviewing footage. You need to see this. Threll dressed quickly and made his way through the quiet corridors. He found Kyria in the observation room along with Ven and 2 other members of the inspection team. They were all staring at a large display screen. What did you find? Threll asked. Everything, Kyria said softly. The humans gave us complete access to their security footage. 6 months of recordings. I have been watching for 3 hours. I do not understand what I am seeing. She pressed a button. The screen showed Sarah entering the enclosure for the first time. The timestamp read 184 days ago. She was carrying 3 tiny cubs wrapped in blankets. Each cub was small enough to fit in her arms. They made high-pitched crying sounds. "This is day 1, Kyria said. The cubs were found next to their dead mother. The humans retrieved them before scavengers could attack. Watch." On screen, Sarah sat down and began bottle-feeding the cubs one at a time. They drank hungrily, their tiny claws kneading against her arms. When they finished, she wrapped them back in blankets and held them close to her chest. "She is keeping them warm," Ben observed, "like a mother would." "Keep watching," Kyria said. The footage jumped forward. Now it showed Sarah several days later sleeping in the enclosure. The cubs, slightly larger now, were curled up against her body. One was sleeping on her chest. She had one arm draped protectively over them. "She sleeps with predators," Threll said, his scales turning pale again. "Every night for the first month," Kyria confirmed. The humans explained that infant Vraskar need constant warmth and contact. Their mother would normally never leave them alone, so Sarah stayed with them all night, every night. The footage continued to jump forward through the weeks. The team watched Sarah play with the growing cubs. She rolled balls for them to chase. She taught them to come when she called their names. She brushed their fur and cleaned their enclosure. She weighed them weekly and celebrated when they reached growth milestones. "She acts like they are her children," Ven said. "The humans call it raising them," Threll said. "They use the same word for their own offspring." More footage appeared. The cubs were much larger now, their movements more coordinated and powerful. They fought with each other, their mock battles becoming increasingly intense. Their claws were fully developed. Their fangs were growing sharp. One cub accidentally scratched Sarah's arm during a play session. Blood appeared. The inspection team tensed. Sarah just wiped the blood away and kept playing. The cub who scratched her seemed upset, making distressed sounds. Sarah picked it up and cuddled it, apparently reassuring the creature that everything was fine. "Impossible," Kyria whispered. The predator drew blood. She should have run. She should have called for help. She should have defended herself. She knew it was an accident, Threll said slowly, beginning to understand. She did not want the cub to feel guilty. The footage showed more scenes. Sarah working at her desk while the cubs wrestled around her feet. Sarah eating lunch while a cub tried to steal food from her plate. Sarah giving the cubs medical checkups, examining their teeth and claws while they sat patiently. Then the footage showed something that made every alien in the room go completely silent. An adult Vraskar entered the enclosure. A massive female, possibly the largest Vraskar on record. She moved with deadly grace, each step controlled and purposeful. The cubs immediately ran to her, chirping excitedly. Sarah stood up slowly. She did not run. She did not reach for a weapon. She simply stood there and waited. The adult Vraskar approached Sarah. The creature was 3 times Sarah's size. Its fangs were as long as Sarah's forearm. It could kill her with a single bite. The Vraskar sniffed Sarah carefully. Then it made a deep rumbling sound and pressed its massive head against Sarah's chest. Sarah reached up and scratched behind the creature's ears. The Vraskar's eyes closed in apparent pleasure. "That is Luna," Threll said, remembering Sarah's earlier presentation. "The alpha female." "She is checking on the cubs," Ven said. "And she is greeting Sarah as family." The footage showed Luna staying for an hour. She watched the cubs play with Sarah. She allowed Sarah to examine her paws and check her teeth. Before leaving, Luna deposited a dead animal at Sarah's feet. "The gift," Kyria said. Sarah was telling the truth. The predator brings her food. More footage followed. Different adult Vraskar visiting the enclosure. All of them behaved the same way with Sarah. Gentle, trusting, almost affectionate. Several brought gifts of dead prey. None showed any aggression toward her. The most remarkable footage came from hidden cameras in the wilderness. Sarah had been telling the truth about visiting their den. The recording showed her sitting in a cave surrounded by adult Vraskar and their cubs. She checked the health of new babies while their mothers watched calmly. She played with the young cubs while the adults rested nearby. She was completely integrated into their pride structure. "This is not possible," Kyria said, though she was watching proof that it was indeed possible. Predators do not accept other species into their social groups. They do not share their young with strangers. They do not bring food to potential prey. "Sarah is not prey to them," Threll said. "She is something else. She is pack. She is family." "But how?" Ven demanded. "How did the humans achieve this? What technology did they use? What biological modifications?" "No technology," a voice said from the doorway. The inspection team turned. Commander Wei stood there holding 2 cups of coffee. He looked tired but calm. No modifications either, Wei continued. Just patience, understanding, and something humans have been doing for thousands of years. He walked to the display and pulled up a new file. Historical images from Earth appeared. Humans sitting with wolves, humans riding horses, humans with birds perched on their arms, humans swimming with dolphins, humans living alongside elephants and lions and bears. This is what humans do, Wei said. We find creatures that could kill us and we try to understand them. Sometimes we make them our partners. Sometimes we make them our friends. Sometimes we make them family. But why? Threll asked. Why take such risks? We smiled. Because we are curious. Because we are social. Because we evolved on a world filled with predators and we survived by being smarter, not stronger. We learned that cooperation is more powerful than confrontation. We learned that understanding is safer than fear. He pulled up another image. Ancient humans sitting around a fire. A wolf lay among them, its head resting near the fire's warmth. 40,000 years ago, our ancestors made a choice, Wei said. When the wolves came to their camps, they could have driven them away or killed them. Instead, they threw them scraps of food. They let the wolf cubs play with their children. Over generations, those wolves became dogs. They helped us hunt. They warned us of danger. They protected our families. They became our most loyal companions. And you believe you can do the same with the Vraskar, Threll said. We know we can, Wei corrected, because we have already done it. Luna trusts Sarah. The entire Northern Pride has accepted humans as neutral members of their territory. Attacks on humans have dropped by 97% since we started the program. The Vraskar are learning that we are friends, not threats. Kyria shook her head slowly. The Council will never approve this. It is too dangerous, too unprecedented. Then the Council does not understand humans very well, Wei said. We colonize dangerous worlds because we do not fear danger. We just learn to live with it. He finished his coffee and set down the cup. Get some rest, he said. Tomorrow, Sarah is taking a group into the Western Territory. There is a new pride there with cubs. She is going to attempt first contact. You are welcome to observe. He left the room. The inspection team sat in stunned silence. First contact with a new pride, Kyria finally said. She is going to walk up to Vraskar who have never seen a human before. Yes, Threll said quietly. She will be killed. Perhaps. We should stop her. Threll looked at the frozen image on the screen. Sarah, surrounded by sleeping Vraskar, reading her datapad like it was the most normal thing in the galaxy. I do not think we could stop her, he said, and I think I want to see what happens. The emergency alarm woke everyone at the research station. It was 3 a.m. Threll jumped from his bed, his scales shifting to a dark, alert green. His training took over. Emergency alarms meant danger. Danger meant potential evacuation. He grabbed his emergency kit and rushed into the corridor. Other aliens from the inspection team were emerging from their rooms, looking confused and frightened. Commander Wei was already there, still pulling on his jacket. What happened? Threll demanded. Wei's face was grim. There has been an incident. A survey team in the Northern Territories. They were attacked by Vraskar. 3 dead, 2 badly injured. The words hit Threll like a physical blow. He had known this would happen. He had warned them. Humans and predators could not coexist safely. The evidence was now written in blood. Were any humans hurt? Kyria asked, arriving with the others. No, Wei said. It was a Saurian survey team. Your people, Inspector Threll. They were conducting geological surveys in Section 42. A Vraskar pride attacked them without warning. Threll felt his blood go cold. His people, his species, killed by the very creatures the humans claimed were safe. Where is Dr. Chen? He asked. On her way to the site, Wei said. She left 10 minutes ago with a medical team. Alone? With the predators still in the area? She is not alone. She has 3 other researchers with her, and yes, the Vraskar are still in the area. That is why she is going. Within 20 minutes, the entire inspection team was in a transport vehicle racing toward the Northern Territories. Nobody spoke. The silence was heavy with shock and anger and fear. When they arrived at the site, they found organized chaos. Medical teams were loading the 2 injured Saurians into emergency capsules. 3 bodies lay under silver sheets. A dozen security personnel stood guard, weapons drawn. scanning the dark forest around them. Sarah stood near the tree line, arguing with a security officer. "You cannot go in there," the officer was saying. "The pride that did this is less than 1 kilometer away. They have tasted Saurian blood. They know your people are killable now." "They attacked because they felt threatened," Sarah insisted. "I need to find out what happened. I need to talk to Luna." "Talk to a predator?" the security officer said incredulously. "Dr. Chen, with respect, 3 people are dead. We need to eliminate the threat, not have a conversation with it." Threll approached them. His scales were dark red now, showing his anger. "Dr. Chen is correct about one thing," he said coldly. "We need to know what happened. But she is wrong about the solution. The Vraskar in this region must be eliminated. All of them. It is the only way to ensure safety." Sarah turned to face him. Her face was pale, but her eyes were fierce. "No," she said simply. "This is not a debate," Threll said. "My people are dead, killed by the creatures you claim are safe. The Galactic Council will demand action. Military ships are already being dispatched. They will be here in 48 hours. Every Vraskar within 100 kilometers will be eliminated." "Over my dead body," Sarah said. "That can be arranged if you continue to obstruct safety protocols." Threll snapped. Commander Wei stepped between them. "Everyone needs to calm down. Inspector Threll, I understand your anger, but we need to investigate before we make irreversible decisions. Sarah, show him what you found." Sarah pulled out her datapad and displayed a 3-dimensional map of the area. "The survey team was here," she said, pointing to a red marker. "This is deep in established Vraskar territory. We have signs posted every 100 meters warning people to stay out during mating season. It is currently mating season." "So your defense is that my people deserve to die for entering the wrong area?" Threll asked dangerously. "No," Sarah said. "My point is that they were in a restricted zone during the most dangerous time of year. But there is more. Look at the energy readings from their equipment." She pulled up another display. It showed energy signatures from the survey team's geological scanners. "These scanners use high-frequency pulses," Sarah explained. "The same frequency that Vraskar used to communicate danger to their cubs. To the Pride, it would have sounded like someone was threatening their young. They attacked to defend their cubs, not because they wanted to hunt Saurians." "You are making excuses for monsters," Threll said. "I am trying to prevent a massacre," Sarah replied. "If we kill this Pride, we destroy 6 months of work. We prove to every Vraskar on this planet that humans cannot be trusted. We start a war that will cost lives on both sides." "There are already lives lost," Kyria said quietly. She had been standing near the covered bodies. 3 Saurians who will never go home to their families." Sarah's expression softened. "I know, and I am sorry, truly. But killing the Vraskar will not bring them back. It will only create more death." "What do you suggest instead?" Van asked. "Let me go to the Pride," Sarah said. "Let me find out exactly what happened. Let me show them that this was a misunderstanding. We can prevent this from happening again without extermination." "Absolutely not," Threll said. "I will not allow you to commit suicide while under council observation." "Then come with me," Sarah said. Everyone stared at her. "What?" Threll asked. "Come with me," Sarah repeated. "You, Inspector Threll. Come into the forest. Meet the Vraskar. See for yourself whether they are mindless killers or intelligent creatures who made a terrible mistake." "That is insane," Threll said. "Is it?" Sarah asked. "You have spent 2 days watching recordings and reading reports. But you have not actually interacted with a Vraskar. You are making decisions based on fear and data, not experience. Come with me. If I am wrong, if they attack us, then you will have your evidence. You can order the extermination with a clear conscience." "And if they kill you?" Commander Wei asked. "Then you were right and I was wrong," Sarah said. "But I do not think that will happen." Threll looked at the bodies under their silver sheets. He looked at the dark forest where predators lurked. He looked at Sarah Chen, this small human who thought she could make friends with death itself. Made a decision that went against every instinct his species had. Developed over millions of years. "I will go," he said. Kyria grabbed his arm. "Threll, no. This is foolish. You are the senior inspector. If you die, the entire mission fails." "If I refuse, I am making decisions without proper investigation," Threll said. "That is also a failure. I will go. But only myself and Dr. Chen. The rest of you will stay here with security. If we do not return in 2 hours, proceed with the extermination order." "Make it 3 hours," Sarah said. "It is a long walk to the den and we need time to communicate." 3 hours, Threll agreed. Sarah nodded and started toward the forest. Threll followed, his legs feeling like they belonged to someone else. The security officer tried to give him a weapon, but Sarah shook her head. No weapons, she said. They will smell the metal and chemicals. It will make them aggressive. You want us to walk toward predators completely unarmed, Threll said. Yes, Sarah said simply. They entered the forest. Behind them, Threll heard Kyria calling out something in their native language. A prayer, perhaps, or a farewell. The forest was dark and full of sounds. Every snapping twig made Threll jump. Every rustle of leaves made his heart race. Sarah walked calmly, using a small light to illuminate the path. She seemed completely unafraid. How can you be so calm? Threll asked. Because I know what I am doing, Sarah said, and because fear will not help us right now. The Vraskar can smell fear. It makes them nervous. What should I smell like instead? Confident, calm, curious. Sarah glanced back at him. Think of this as a diplomatic mission, not a death march. We are going to meet with another intelligent species to resolve a conflict. You have done that hundreds of times. The other species were not apex predators. All species are predators in some way, Sarah said. The Vraskar just happened to be more honest about it. They walked for an hour through the dark forest. Gradually, Threll became aware that they were being followed. Shadows moved between the trees. Eyes reflected in the darkness. The Vraskar were tracking them. They are hunting us, Threll whispered. They are escorting us, Sarah corrected. There is a difference. If they were hunting, we would already be dead. They emerged into a clearing. In the center was a rocky outcropping with a cave entrance. Several adult Vraskar lay near the entrance. Cubs played in the moonlight. When Sarah and Threll entered the clearing, every head turned toward them. The largest Vraskar stood up. It was the size of a small vehicle. Its crystalline fangs caught the moonlight, creating prisms of color. It made a sound deep in its chest, somewhere between a growl and a rumble. That is Luna, Sarah said. Let me do the talking. She walked forward, straight toward the massive predator. Threll's every instinct screamed at him to run. He forced himself to stand still. Sarah reached Luna and stopped. The two regarded each other. Then Sarah did something that made Threll's scales turn white with terror. She knelt down, making herself smaller and more vulnerable. She bowed her head, exposing her neck to the predator. Luna moved forward. She lowered her massive head and sniffed Sarah's hair. Then she made that rumbling sound again, but softer now. Almost gentle. Sarah looked up and smiled. She reached out and touched Luna's face. Hello, old friend, she said softly. We need to talk. Threll had never been this frightened in his entire life. He stood frozen in the clearing, watching Sarah kneel before a creature that could end her life with one bite. Luna, the massive Vraskar, circled Sarah slowly, sniffing her, examining her with intelligent eyes. 3 of Sarah's cubs bounded over from where they had been playing. They were much larger now than when Threll had first seen them, nearly 60 kilograms each. They crowded around Sarah, chirping and rubbing against her. She greeted each one with gentle touches, speaking their names. Ash, Ember, Storm, she said. Yes, I missed you too. I know Luna brought you home last week. Are you being good for your aunt? The cubs made happy sounds. One of them noticed Threll and froze, staring at him with predatory focus. Ash, no, Sarah said firmly. Friend, he is a friend. The cub tilted its head, clearly confused. It looked at Sarah, then back at Threll, then at Sarah again. Come here, Sarah said to Threll. Slowly. Do not make sudden movements. Threll's legs did not want to move. He forced them forward, one step at a time. Every Vraskar in the clearing was watching him now. He counted at least 8 adults and a dozen cubs. Any one of them could kill him. Together they could make him disappear in seconds. He reached Sarah's side. She was still kneeling, which put her at eye level with the cubs. Kneel, she instructed. Make yourself small, non-threatening. Threll knelt awkwardly. His legs were not designed for this position, but he managed. Now hold out your hand, Sarah said. Palm up, like you are offering something. I am not offering anything, Threll said nervously. You are offering peace, Sarah replied. Trust me. Threll extended his hand. It was shaking. The cub named Ash approached slowly, sniffing cautiously. Its nose was cold and wet against Threll's scales. The cub sniffed his hand, his arm, his chest. Then it made a decision. It sat down in front of Threll and stared at him expectantly. "What does it want?" Threll whispered. "Pet it," Sarah said. "Behind the ears. Gently. You want me to touch a predator?" "Yes." Threll reached out with his shaking hand. He touched the soft fur behind the cub's ear. The cub leaned into the touch, making a pleased sound. "That is a purr," Sarah said. "It means the cub is happy. You are doing well." Luna made a loud rumbling sound. All the cubs immediately ran to her. Sarah stood up and Threll quickly followed. Luna was making gestures with her head indicating they should follow her. "She wants to show us something," Sarah said. They followed Luna into the cave. It was dark and smelled of animal musk. Threll's eyes adjusted slowly. He could see sleeping forms in the shadows. More Vraskar. They were deeper in the Pride's territory now, completely surrounded by predators. Luna led them to a side chamber. 3 adult Vraskar lay there, and they looked agitated. They were making distressed sounds, pacing in tight circles. When Luna entered with Sarah and Threll, they became more upset. Sarah approached slowly, speaking in a soft voice. "It is okay. I am here to help. Show me what is wrong." One of the Vraskar, a large male, moved aside. Behind him was a female lying on her side. She was breathing heavily, clearly in distress. "She is pregnant," Sarah said, "and something is wrong with the birth." She knelt beside the female and began examining her gently. The other Vraskar watched but did not interfere. They seemed to understand Sarah was trying to help. "The cub is positioned wrong," Sarah said. "It is stuck. Without help, both mother and cub will die." She pulled out her communicator. "Sarah to base. I need the emergency veterinary kit brought to my location, and Dr. Williams. Tell him it is an emergency birth situation." Commander Way's voice came through. "Understood. We are tracking your location. Team will arrive in 30 minutes. Are you safe?" "Yes," Sarah said. "For now." She looked at Luna. "I need to help her. Do you understand? Your Pride member is in trouble. I can fix it, but I need tools." Luna made a soft sound and touched Sarah's shoulder with her massive head. Then she turned and made a series of calls. The other Vraskar in the cave responded, their sounds echoing off the stone walls. "What did she just do?" Threll asked. "She told the Pride to allow humans to enter the den," Sarah said. "She is trusting us to help." They waited with the distressed female. Sarah kept one hand on the Vraskar's side, speaking softly to calm her. The male who had first shown them, the problem lay down nearby, watching every movement Sarah made. "That is her mate," Sarah said. "He is worried. He probably knew about the Saurian survey team. He probably participated in the attack." Threll looked at the male Vraskar. The creature looked back at him with intelligent eyes. There was no malice there, just concern for his mate and unborn cub. "They did not attack because they are evil," Threll said slowly, understanding dawning. "They attacked because they were afraid." "Yes," Sarah said. The survey team's equipment was sending out signals that sounded like danger to the Vraskar. During mating season, when they have pregnant females and young cubs, they are extremely protective. They thought the Saurians were threatening their families. "But the Saurians had no intention of harming them," Threll said. "They were just doing their jobs." "I know," Sarah said sadly. "That is the tragedy. Both sides were just trying to survive. Neither wanted this conflict. But lack of understanding created violence." Voices echoed from the cave entrance. The medical team had arrived. Dr. Williams, another human researcher, entered the chamber carrying a large case. He froze when he saw the Vraskar surrounding them. "Relax, Michael," Sarah said. "They know we are here to help. Set up your equipment." For the next hour, Threll watched as the 2 humans worked to save the Vraskar mother and her cub. They used tools and medicine, but mostly they used gentleness and patience. The male Vraskar watched everything, sometimes making worried sounds. Sarah would pause to touch him reassuringly before continuing her work. Finally, a small cub emerged. It was not moving. Sarah quickly cleared its mouth and nose, rubbing it vigorously. For a terrible moment, nothing happened. Then the cub took a shuddering breath and made a weak crying sound. The male Vraskar made a sound Threll had never heard before. It was pure joy. Sarah placed the cub next to its mother. The exhausted female immediately began cleaning it, her rough tongue stimulating the cub's breathing. The cub squirmed and made stronger sounds. "They will both be fine," Dr. Williams said. "But the mother needs rest and observation. I recommend we check on her daily for the next week." Luna approached Sarah. The massive predator gently touched, her head to Sarah's chest, then to Dr. Williams' chest, then finally to Threll's chest. It was clearly a gesture of gratitude. "You are welcome," Sarah said softly. They emerged from the cave as dawn was breaking. The entire inspection team was waiting at the forest edge with security personnel. When they saw Sarah, Threll, and the medical team emerge safely, there was an audible sigh of relief. Kyria ran forward. "Threll, you are alive. We thought—" She stopped, staring past him. Luna had followed them out of the cave. She stood at the tree line, massive and powerful in the morning light. Several other adult Vraskar stood with her. The security personnel raised their weapons. Commander Wei quickly ordered them to stand down. Luna made a sound. It was loud and carried across the clearing. From the forest, answering calls echoed back. More Vraskar emerged from the trees. Threll counted 20 adults, maybe more. They formed a loose circle around the clearing but came no closer. Luna approached the spot where the attack had occurred. The bodies had been removed, but traces remained. She sniffed the ground, then made a low, mournful sound. The other Vraskar joined her, their voices creating a haunting chorus. "They are mourning," Sarah said quietly. "They understand that death occurred here. They are expressing regret." "Predators do not feel regret," Threll said. But his voice lacked conviction. "These ones do," Sarah replied. Luna turned and walked back to Sarah. She dropped something at Sarah's feet. It was a crystalline fang, clearly one of Luna's own. "What does that mean?" Kyria asked. Sarah picked up the fang carefully. Her eyes were shining with tears. "It is an apology. Among Vraskar, giving a fang is a sign of deep respect and regret. It is painful for them to lose a fang. Luna is saying she is sorry for what her pride did." "Can predators truly understand concepts like apology?" Ven asked. Sarah looked at him. "Can the Galactic Council?" She turned to Threll. "What do you report to the Council? Are the Vraskar mindless killers who must be exterminated? Or are they intelligent beings who made a mistake that they now regret?" Threll looked at Luna. The massive predator looked back at him. He thought about the male Vraskar's joy at his cub's birth. He thought about Luna's gesture of gratitude. He thought about the mournful sounds of regret. He thought about his own species' history. The wars fought over misunderstandings, the conflicts born from fear rather than malice. "I will report the truth," he said finally. "That tragedy occurred here, but extermination is not the answer. That Dr. Chen's methods, while unconventional, have merit. That the Vraskar are more than predators. They are intelligent beings worthy of understanding." "The Council will not like that report," Kyria warned. "Then the Council will have to learn to accept new ideas," Threll said. "Just as I have had to." Sarah smiled. She held up Luna's fang. "We will keep this in the research station, a reminder that even the fiercest predators can choose peace over violence." Luna made one final sound and turned back to the forest. Her pride followed her. Within moments, they had disappeared into the trees like shadows dissolving in the morning light. Threll watched them go. He realized 5 years had passed since the incident in the Northern Territories. The small research station on Kepler 442b had transformed into something much larger. The Interspecies Predator Relations Institute now sprawled across several square kilometers, its white buildings gleaming in the alien sun. Threll stood at the landing pad, watching ships arrive from across the galaxy. Students, researchers, and diplomats from dozens of species came to learn what humans had to teach. The institute had become famous. Some called it revolutionary. Others called it insane. Nobody could deny its success. He had been promoted after submitting his report 5 years ago. Now he was the council's official liaison to the institute. He visited 4 times a year to monitor progress and report back. Each visit showed him something new and impossible. Today he was here for the annual evaluation. His transport ship departed, and he made his way to the main administration building. The grounds were busy with activity. He passed enclosures where various predatory species lived alongside their human caretakers. Some he recognized. Others were new. In one enclosure, a young Phylixian researcher sat nervously while a massive 6-legged creature from some ice world approached her. A human instructor stood nearby, coaching her in a calm voice. "Remember, Kyria," the instructor said. "They sense fear, but fear is natural. Acknowledge it, then breathe through it. Show respect, not submission." Threll stopped. That name. He moved closer and realized it was indeed Kyria, the Phylixian inspector who had been part of his original team. She had resigned from the council and enrolled as a student here 3 years ago. Now she was working with predators herself. The ice world creature reached Kyria and sniffed her carefully. She held perfectly still, her 4 eyes wide but focused. The creature made a decision. It lay down next to her, close enough that she could touch it. "Good," the instructor said.
"Now try touching its neck. Gently. Show affection." Kyria reached out with a trembling hand and stroked the creature's thick fur.
It made a pleased sound, something between a grunt and a purr. Kyria's expression transformed from fear to wonder. Threll continued walking, shaking his head in amazement. Who would have thought that Kyria, who had been so terrified during that first inspection, would become one of the Institute's most dedicated students? He found Commander Wei in the main office. The commander was older now, more gray in his hair, but his energy remained unchanged. He greeted Threll warmly. "Inspector, good to see you. How was your journey?" "Long but uneventful," Threll replied. "I saw Kyria with an ice predator. She has come far," Wei smiled. "She is one of our best students. Last month she completed a solo integration with a pack of thermal wolves from Sigma Draconis, creatures that hunt by sensing body heat. Nobody thought a cold-blooded Phylixian could work with them, but she proved everyone wrong." "Where is Dr. Chen?" Threll asked. "I should greet her." Wei's smile widened. "Where do you think?" "Same place as always." Threll walked through the familiar corridors to the original enclosure. It had been expanded significantly over the years, now covering several acres of natural habitat. He passed through 3 security checkpoints, though he noted the security was more to keep untrained people out than to keep the Vraskar in. He found Sarah exactly where he expected. She sat under a large tree reading from her datapad. But the scene was far more crowded than 5 years ago. The 3 cubs, now fully grown adults weighing over 300 kilograms each, lounged around her. Ash had his massive head resting on Sarah's lap. Ember lay pressed against her side. Storm sprawled behind her, using her as a backrest. Several younger Vraskar, born in the years since, played nearby. Sarah had one hand absently scratching Ash's ears while she read. Luna, now quite elderly but still commanding respect, lay a few meters away. Her fur had gone gray around her muzzle. She watched over the scene like a grandmother overseeing her family. Sarah looked up as Threll approached. "Inspector Threll, you are early. I was not expecting you until tomorrow." "The transport schedule changed," Threll said. He stood at the enclosure's edge, still maintaining a respectful distance. 5 years of visiting had made him comfortable with the Vraskar, but not careless. "Come in," Sarah said, gesturing. "Ash, move. The inspector wants to sit." The massive Vraskar lifted his head from Sarah's lap and shifted to the side, making room. Threll entered the enclosure and sat down carefully. Immediately, one of the younger Vraskar, a 2-year-old named Spark, bounded over to investigate him. "Hello, Spark," Threll said, holding out his hand. The young Vraskar sniffed him, recognized his scent from previous visits, and promptly climbed into his lap. Threll made a surprised sound. Spark weighed at least 40 kilograms and took up his entire lap. The creature circled twice, then settled down and closed its eyes. "Spark has decided you are comfortable," Sarah said with amusement. "Congratulations." "I cannot move," Threll said. "Then I hope you did not have anywhere important to be." They sat in comfortable silence for a while. Threll found himself relaxing despite having an apex predator sleeping on his lap. The enclosure was peaceful. Insects buzzed. Birds sang. The Vraskar made soft breathing sounds. "I need to ask you something," Threll said eventually, "for my report to the council." "Of course, why did you start all this?" Threll asked. "You had a good career as a xenobiologist. You could have studied the Vraskar from safety. Why risk everything to befriend them?" Sarah was quiet for a moment, considering her answer. "Do you know the story of how humans and dogs came together?" she finally asked. "I have read the historical files," Threll said. 40,000 years ago? Wolves and humans. Yes, but do you know why it happened? Why humans didn't just kill all the wolves to make themselves safer?" Threll shook his head. "Because someone fed them," Sarah said. "Some ancient human whose name we will never know sat by their fire and had extra food. Maybe they had just made a good hunt. Maybe they were feeling generous. Maybe they were just curious. And when a hungry wolf came near the camp, instead of throwing a spear, they threw a piece of meat." She scratched Ash's ears. The massive Vraskar made a contented sound. "That one moment of curiosity instead of fear changed everything," Sarah continued. "It started a partnership that helped humans survive the Ice Age. Those wolves became dogs. They helped us hunt. They warned us of danger. They loved us, all because someone chose to feed instead of fight." "But it was dangerous," Threll said. "Everything worth doing is dangerous," Sarah replied. "Building spacecraft is dangerous. Colonizing new worlds is dangerous. Making first contact with alien species is dangerous, but we do it anyway because the rewards are worth the risks." "And what are the rewards of befriending predators?" Sarah gestured around the enclosure. "Look at this place. 5 years ago, humans and Vraskar were killing each other. Now we live side by side. Vraskar protect our settlements from other dangerous wildlife. We provide them with medical care and protection from poachers. It is a partnership. Both species benefit, but it only works because humans have this strange ability," Threll said. "Most species cannot do what you do." "Not yet," Sarah said. "But they are learning." "Your own people are learning, Threll. I have 6 Saurian students right now. They are doing well. It takes longer for them than it does for humans, yes. But they can learn. Anyone can learn to overcome fear with understanding." Spark stirred in Threll's lap and made a small sound. Without thinking, Threll began stroking the young Vraskar's fur. The creature settled back down, purring. "I think I have my answer," Threll said softly. A commotion drew their attention. A group of students was approaching the enclosure, led by a human instructor. Threll recognized several species in the group: 2 Felixians, a Korthan, 3 Saurians, and several others he did not know. "This is Dr. Chen's original integration site," the instructor was saying. "Notice how relaxed the Vraskar are. This is the result of years of trust building. Today we are fortunate. Dr. Chen is here, and she has agreed to let you observe a feeding session." The students gathered at the enclosure edge, watching nervously as Sarah stood up and walked to a storage container. She pulled out large chunks of raw meat and began distributing them to the Vraskar. The massive predators took the food gently from her hands, their deadly fangs carefully avoiding her fingers. "Note the control," the instructor continued. "These are creatures capable of tearing through steel plating. But with Dr. Chen, they are gentle. They understand she is family. They would no more hurt her than they would hurt their own cubs." One of the Saurian students raised a hand. "But if they see us as family, does that mean they will not hunt? Have we made them dependent on us?" Sarah heard the question and answered. "No, the Vraskar still hunt. They still have all their natural behaviors, but they recognize humans as neutral members of their territory. They hunt other prey, not us. Think of it like this. A wolf will hunt deer, but it will not hunt its pack members. We have become part of their pack. Can any predator be integrated this way?" Another student asked. "Not all," Sarah admitted. "Some species are too solitary, some are too territorial, but more than you would think can be integrated if you..."